they'll be walking around out there. But this is one of the animals that specializes in eating snakes. This guy was up on a perch, swallowing a ribbon snake. Red-shouldered hawk. Caracaras will feed on snakes. Swallowtail kites grab green snakes from the tops of trees as they're gliding around. And barred owls will hunt from a perch on a wetland. You'll see them perched around wetlands, swamps, looking down. If they see a snake, they'll dive down and get it, just like a red-shouldered hawk. Great blue herons. And look what this garter snake did. Tied himself in. But that's one of the biggest garter snakes I've ever seen. Yeah, it'd be close to 4 feet long. This one's eating a mole, but I have seen sandhill cranes grabbing ringneck snakes and ribbon snakes and tossing them down. And so do alligators eat snakes. This one's eating a turtle. This was at Sanibel. This alligator came right out of the water at Sanibel when I was there a couple of years ago and was trying to swallow this turtle. And I saw an alligator a few years ago grab a green snake from a shrub. Actually leaped out of the water and grabbed a green snake while I was watching it. But this is what I said was maybe one of the worst things around here for snakes, fire ants. They'll eat anything that they can find, and they swarm over it, sting it, kill it, and eggs of snakes have no defense against fire ants. They get parasites too. These are 2 ticks on the head of a pygmy rattlesnake. But that's not that bad. The worst thing is that pentastome parasite that they found now in pygmy rattlesnakes that they think is coming from, they're pretty sure it's coming from pythons. And that's one of the things they fear the most now. If it spreads to other snakes like diamondbacks, I mean, you know that frogs are endangered from the fungus. Bats are in danger of disappearing from the Northeast because of the white nose fungus. There's so many alien pathogens and parasites coming into our country that are destroying our own wildlife. It's a very, very difficult thing to stop. But another thing that's hurting snakes, roadkills. A lot of snakes die this way. So just watch out where you drive. This was a python that was killed in the Everglades. Well, I was actually glad for that, though. And development. We're losing thousands and thousands of acres. Latitude Margaritaville and Ormond Crossing, there's probably 7,000 new homes going to be built in that area alone, and thousands of acres are being bulldozed and clear cut for houses. It's happening all the time. And outright killing. You see that pickup truck there? A friend of mine saw this. This was just like half a mile from my house. He said, get in the car right away. I just saw a giant diamondback, and I left somebody there to make sure it didn't get hit by a car. So we rode over, and the guy this picture was taken right before we got there by the guy we left to supposedly protect this snake. The guy that drove this pickup truck saw this snake, stopped his car, ran out, and hammered it to death with a metal pole. And there's the snake that he killed. Isn't that a shame? A beautiful, beautiful reptile that may be 20, 25 years old and lived through all those years so a guy could jump out of his pickup truck and kill him. So I really had a big argument with this guy. I asked him why he could do a thing like that. So, well, my aunt lives down the road. I didn't want this snake killing my aunt. So I said, well, the snake was trying to get into the woods over there. It's not after your aunt. And then after I argued with him, he said, well, it's dead now. Can I bring him home and eat him? I said, no, I don't think so. The best thing we could do is educate ourselves. Educate our kids, our grandkids about reptiles and snakes. We're not born, I don't think we're born afraid of snakes. That's something I think you learn in childhood. I certainly wasn't born afraid of snakes, and neither was any of my brothers. My parents were definitely afraid of snakes. So if it was inherited, you would think that we were. But we loved them as kids. Learn about them. Go to the reptile center. Go to the zoos, the Sanford Zoo. They give programs on reptiles also. Here's my grandson. First snake he ever touched with my son-in-law there. And at first they may be a little bit shy, but then after a while, they'll lose their fear and start holding them themselves. That's me right there in my Elvis Presley days. One of my first snakes with 2 of my brothers. And whenever we get together now, there's 6 of us, or actually 5 of us, and we go out and look for reptiles in different parts of the country. That's one of my daughters, and that's her today. She works for National Geographic, in charge of educational videos. That's my second daughter, holding a snake. So you see, and that's my son, holding a snake. So I raised my kids to like reptiles and not be afraid of them. And now my grandkids are the same way. Grandkid number 1, grandkid number 2, number 3, and number 4. And that's at the Reptile Discovery Center too. So if you don't show fear and show kids a curiosity and a knowledge, and let them know about snakes and how valuable they are and how harmless they are if left alone, and teach them a healthy respect for the venomous ones, then we'll be fine. And instead of growing up to kill them, maybe we'll grow up to be interested in them and take pictures of them instead. Thanks a lot, everybody.